Oh yeah, I did see this. Hold on. Man in the black and white flag mask biked in circles around the Zoran Mamdani presser in Jackson Heights, calling the mayoral candidate a terrorist. After a minute or two of that, this muscular man screams at him to get out of here. To a large extent, also, people, like everyone, can fall prey to this sort of inertial, momentum-based, cultural, we want to feel cool attitude, which is one of the reasons why people like Mamdani, you know? Mamdani doesn't just provide you arguments that are correct. Mamdani feels cool to support. It's one of the reasons why the Democrats right now are so unpopular and why Republicans hold really strong with their base. Republicans give you a narrative. Democrats don't at all. They give you nothing, absolutely nothing. You have to fight to support them, like against the current, you know? People like that energy. The difference being, of course, that fascists envision nothing else. For them, that process, that engagement, that's all. That's literally the only thing they want, need, or care about. Whereas with Mamdani, of course, you know, there's an actual like set of policy positions that he advocates that people are looking forward to and care about.
You hear that, right? You hear that, right? Hey, don't use that fucking language! You don't fucking call someone a terrorist! You don't know what the fuck you're saying! So grow the fuck up! Grow up! Grow the fuck up! You hear that, right?
Like his alpha male posture. Look at that. God, look at how pale he is.
Grow up! Grow the fuck up! You hear that, right? Send the police now! Zora, keep doing your fucking thing, man! Get the fuck out of here, boy!
He showed up for a presser. He wants to see a fucking presser, okay? Who are these people in suits? Probably Zoran's bodyguards. That'd be my guess. All right. What an America of 100 million was like. Can we look at this for a second?
You're looking sharp. You're looking good.
Of course, it's copyright audio. This is a Gillette ad from the 90s or maybe the 80s. See this? This is the America of 100 million. What does that mean? If you got rid of all the blacks and the browns and Jews and so on, this is what would be left. Now, of course, when this ad was made, there were tons and tons of black and brown people and Jews and so on in America. It didn't really matter. It sure is white in here. That's the point. That's the point. You ever notice how every single right-wing like propaganda advertisement looks like this, where it's just made up of advertisements? Life after all the criminal aliens are deported. Can't play the audio, of course. We saw this. It's got the Nazi stuff in it. But like overwhelmingly, the stuff in this is from movies and advertisements. You know? Overwhelmingly, that's what we're looking at here. It's like, what do we want the world to look like? Well, the Nazis' vision, the fascist vision of a good world, of a world they want to live in, is a collage of advertisements that reaffirm their worldview. They want to look at the television screen and see reflected back at them like their vision of a world that accepts them. You understand what I'm talking about? In other words, they don't have any vision for the future. They don't have any set of policies they believe in. They don't have any dream for how to make the country better. All they want to do, and this is why I always say nostalgia is a fascist impulse, all they want to do is return, in this case, not even to a real past, but to an imaginary one. To a collection of cherry-picked videos and images that make you feel a certain way. They're looking for a feeling here, you know? I still remember an interview with a former white supremacist who literally said he and a lot of others left because, quote, it's hard to get laid as a neo-Nazi. Yeah, and you gotta understand that in a long-winded, roundabout way, that was why they were in it to begin with. I know it seems crazy, like, well, wouldn't you want to learn how to play the guitar? Isn't that how you get laid? But that's not really how psychology works. You know, that's a very, like, do X to get Y attitude, which isn't how you get involved in extremist movements, you know? Self-fulfilling prophecy? It's more like, at some point in your life, you've adopted a reactionary position because you thought that it would be cool to do so. Probably when you were like a teenager or something. You might have been like flippant about women, or you might have thought like, I think that immigrants should just like, stop taking jobs. Like, you didn't really think about it. You flippantly adopted it and you discarded it after some length of time, but you probably did it for a time because you felt like there was something empowering about this countercultural stance. You're a little contrarian, a little daring, Oh, everyone else is running with the tide. I think, my position on this is a little more daring, right? Sometimes people adopt views like that really flippantly, and sometimes they stick with it for a long time, A lot of people's political positions are probably born out of that kind of like reflexive contrarianism, their desire to flesh out what they actually believe by challenging the people around them. And then, if they're unlucky, it stays that way. If you're unlucky, you get stuck in that position. Like when the parents say if you make a silly face, it'll get stuck that way as a way of getting their kids to stop making a silly face. Sometimes it just gets stuck that way. Very dangerous. Well, anyway, you get the point that I'm trying to make here. One of the biggest mistakes that Democrats and some leftists make is the assumption that people arrive at their political positions by reasoning them out. And that's just not the case for like most people and most things. When you think about politics a lot, you get in your head like, well, I've considered their ramifications, so why wouldn't other people? Wouldn't it be like condescending of me to assume other people haven't thought their positions out at all? They just haven't. They just haven't. Big old protest. 250,000 apparently in Amsterdam. Put the joint down and went out there. That's nice of them. And all in red. That's very pretty from a distance, Why are they all red? I don't know. It's probably like in today's red line for Palestine. Oh, there you go. I intuited it from the name of the protest, It just looks good, It looks good like to have the color coordination from a distance. They're red for an amazing reason. Oh man. We're so fucked. That's crazy. Now pronounce Stroopwafel correctly, isn't it? Stroopwafel? No, it's Stroopwafel, right? Because it's like Dutch is like German, but with English. So Stroopwafel, right? No? Stroopwafel. My partner keeps distracting me with cat pics. Stop that! Does Israel keep getting so much compliance for all these governments? Whenever we say Israel, okay, what you need to understand, again, and I'll keep saying this for as many times as necessary because it's very, very important to understand. Israel is, okay, you know how Saudi Arabia is an oil company with like a nation stamped over it? It's an oil company wearing a country trench coat, all right? Israel is a web of surveillance and military companies wearing a country trench coat, but then the trench coat became really, really racist. That's literally like the hyper racist, ethno-nationalist, greater Israel, Jewish supremacist population of Israel, deeply fascistic, Nazi, so on and so forth, right, are enabled by the enormous power of them being the like main center of military and surveillance investment. It's not that anyone, including like people in American government, like Israel. It's just business. You know that bit from the third Pirates movie? It's just good business. I've been saying this for a while, but I genuinely think one of the biggest or easiest pathways forward for especially American, like liberal / left big tent unity is a kind of like paleo-liberalism, like Patriots line. Like the Republicans are all traitors, they're actual traitors. They would have been loyalists back during the Revolutionary War. They despised our country and our Constitution, our free speech. They hate it. They Trump loves Saudi Arabia, hates America. We believe in free speech. You hate it. You need to go. I like, obviously that's more of an American line. I mean, it's very much an American line. I don't think you would have been loyalists would run very well if you were like in the United Kingdom. That wouldn't make much sense. We're not fighting against like liberalism here. We're fighting against illiberalism. We have to know what our enemy is. Like, again, liberalism isn't just like 1980 and onward. Liberalism used to be an ideology that people believed in so fiercely that they like fought wars over it, right? Like nowadays it's difficult to imagine that. Nowadays a liberal would only fight a war if it benefited a corporation in some way. But like there was a point in time where this was something that people really believed in, The French Revolution, to an extent the American Revolution. I know that it was mostly like a pastoral aristocratic class trying to like build their own country and wrest free from the the British elites they felt distance from. I understand that, but there were many like post-Enlightenment liberal intellectuals who were part of the American Revolution who thought of it highly and put their work into building the country. And I think that it's important to understand that those people would not like the Democrats today. I was off in Leavenworth, the wonderful town of Leavenworth over in Washington, nestled in the mountains. It's a Bavarian LARP town, if you can believe it. The whole town is Bavaria. You know, like the place in Germany, Texas and Germany, in Lederhosen. No, unfortunately, the women there were wearing the dress, but the men were not wearing lederhosen. One of the guys working the grill at the beer garden that I went to did have the hat. Did you eat some good schnitzel? Yes. They really commit to it. No. They really commit to it, you know? Sexist Bavaria. That's how you know it's authentic. Yeah, they're doing Oktoberfest. But was it walkable? It was very walkable, yes. I got called a slur in Leavenworth while camping. Great. I'm happy to... You know, when we went over, there was actually some anti-Trump protesting going on. The actual character of the town felt liberal to me because it was a very high-income area. Like, it's a very nice community. Very small, but very nice community. There were a couple of people who were holding, like, immigrants make this country great, that kind of stuff. Signs on the road passing through. But I imagine a lot of the tourists that stay over there are probably pretty racist. A lot of lifted trucks, you know? Really beautiful over there. The two kinds of Germans? Yeah. All of the lettering in the town is done in that, like, you know what I mean. It looks like this. It's done in, like, the fancy pants medieval, Hansel and Gretel, House in the Forest. You know what I'm talking about. Ye olden, yeah. That's cute. The locals, thank you. The locals were the racists, the tourists were the protesters. I disagree. I think it's the opposite. Nah. Because I drove past some of the actual residential buildings in this place, all very high income. These places, this is like Colorado, okay? When you are in a tiny, isolated, high income mountain town, like a little village in America, these people are like hard Democrat, you know? All the racists live in Kennewick or Spokane. That's fucking true. Will you ever visit real Germany? I went to Germany when I went to Barcelona. I stopped in Germany. I stopped in Frankfurt. Walked around, saw a bunch of, what do you see in Europe? You see teenagers with Adidas jerseys and adults wearing very tight pants who look mildly flustered and busy, but also like polite. You know what I mean? Then that was the character of the airport. Any AFD flags? At Leavenworth? No, and that's how you know you weren't actually in Bavaria. It's pronounced Spokane, FYI. Yeah. They don't deserve my respect. Even the hospital here was all Bavarianed up, you know? Super cute. Look at this. The town committed to it so much. It's cute. Spokane is just Tacoma, but bigger. Not any good parts of Tacoma, just the bad parts. Okay, that's Tacoma slander. That's fucking crazy, man. You can't say that shit, okay? Tacoma's gone through enough. You can't say it's like Spokane. You can't do that. It already wept. As I said earlier today, VGGers learn that a reference isn't a joke. Challenge level impossible. You people ever make jokes? Do you remember what jokes are like? I have to work for my fucking paycheck. You know that? If I got anywhere near as lazy as you people did... You misspelled judge in the title. I know. But you know what? Just to stop people from telling me this for the next 4 hours. Only to spare all of you the 17 different canned responses that I would offer. Jesus. Spokane is changing so quickly. Their zoning's better than Seattle's is now. Yeah, well, let me know when their people are better than Seattle's, okay? When I walk around, Seattle, what do I see? Homosexuals? You walk around Spokane, what do you see? Clanners, okay? We don't need to compare. Spokane, that's true. That's true.